every agency owner in my mind should be doing this. We all know that time on page is important for SEO.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to encourage, we're all agency owners. Think about, again, how you can use, just what Frankie was talking about, how can you use this to provide better value to your clients? $9,600. It's almost 10 grand in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
That's how you're going to succeed using AI.
All right, you sexy, attractive motherfuckers. We're recording this just after Father's Day, so I'm rocking my world's greatest dad hat, so you know it's legit here. And I brought the AI wizard, Jonathan Mast, back. For those of you guys who remember last time, Jonathan's got an awesome group, by the way, which I'll put some links below, but you guys need to be a part of if you're doing anything with AI or related to that. And one of the things that I wanted to bring him on for is because he's not just using AI in some sort of abstract way, but he's actually using it in his own 7-figure agency daily and testing things out. And then as we mentioned, like, we kind of talked about last time, like, one of the cool things about running a community is, like, people just bring you good ideas. Like, they usually bring you their problems, but often you'll see like lots of other things that are working in their business. And so you end up taking like a lot of cool pieces from everybody that you wouldn't have otherwise learned. And I'm sure that's like exponentially upgraded your understanding even just in the last month. So I guess I want to say, firstly, Jonathan, welcome back.
Thank you. Love to be here. Excited about it.
Just so you guys know, I had a beard this morning and I shaved it because I knew I was going to be inadequate at this party. Let's just tell it like it is.
You're too nice, Frankie.
So one of the things we were kind of talking about a little bit off air, I'm just going to hit enable you to share screen whenever you want to do that. But we were talking about, like, one of the big upgrades for you in the last month has been giving sort of your Chat GPT or any other of the AI tools you use a frame so that they can, like, then give you much higher quality outputs. And the example we were kind of talking about was, like, you're Russell Brunson and you're going to be editing a webinar for me, or you're going to give me feedback on a webinar, you're going to help me create one. And I would love to just see some of your, maybe we can go through even an example of just like giving it a frame so that, like, what you, maybe we could even do like an A versus B kind of split test of like what it looks like when you tell it, output this versus your Russell Brunson and output it.
Yeah, let's do it. Let me go ahead and share my screen. So yeah, we were talking about, okay, let's I've got a webinar coming up this afternoon, as I mentioned to you, Frankie. And the one thing I hate about webinars is that it always takes me so long to get ready for them. And life's busy. I've got too many other things going on. So what I want to do here is, this is obviously my Chat GPT. For everybody, I'm going to use 3.5 today, because that way anybody can use it, whether they're on paid or not. But let's just give you an example and say, I always tell it who I am. My name's Jonathan. That way it gets everything right. You are, well, and this will not give everything today. We'll do the generic version first. Create a webinar outline for me on the topic of blogging for small business. So it's going to give us one. It's going to give us probably something halfway decent. We've got an introduction, the importance, understanding your target audience, and how to create an engaging blog. So SEO, promoting and sharing, measuring success, probably more than I want to do, but that's all right. Great place to start. I can do better, though, if I want to create a new tab here. And let's do this. And now I'm going to say, my name is Jonathan. You are Russell Brunson of ClickFunnels. And yes, it knows who he is. Using your perfect webinar formula or framework. And if you guys know, he has published that in his book.
Yeah.
Write me a webinar outline on the topic of blogging for small business, and then make it better by adding in my audience is, let's just say in this case, home service. Can't type. Business owners and professionals. So a couple things in here that are going to make a difference. First, by telling it you are Russell Brunson, it should act as though it is him. It may give me an error and say I'm not Russell Brunson, in which case then I'll just tell it to act like him. But it's going to reference his perfect webinar funnel framework, and it's going to go ahead and write that. And then by catering it for the right audience, it's actually going to cater it there. And here we go. Notice we're getting much, much more information here.
Yeah. I also noticed
Obviously,
it has more like persuasion elements rather than just being nuts and bolts about blogging. It's like it actually has, you know, selling the benefits of it at the same time.
and that's one of the great things to get. You know, I could do the same thing and I could tell it to act like it's Zig Ziglar or Gary V or, you know, I could do Frankie Finn, anybody that I want. It's going to go ahead and it's going to use that inference. And one of the reasons I use Russell is because, you know, he is selling all the time, and he's got that. And it then creates things again, instead of just blogging for small business, the power of blogging for small business, you know, and explain it as a marketing tool specifically for home service businesses. And I love how it even gives me, here's how long you should spend on this. And I can then look at this based on what it said and go, okay, this is setting up for me an hour and a half long webinar. It's too long. So I could then come back and say, you know, shorten this to, let's say, rewrite and shorten to a total of approximately 30 minutes. And it's now going to go ahead and go through and rewrite everything. And notice it's changing times. It's similar, but now it's cutting some things out. It's shortening my points up. And now it's giving me this script that's going to be roughly 30 minutes long. And then the next step, and this is where I love it. And again, we'll just go through the introduction part. So I've got my outline. Next, I want to say, you know, my name is Jonathan. Can't type it today. Write me a script for section, or would say for the introduction. And I'll say use the style of Russell Brunson.
And by the way, we were kind of mentioning this off air, but you know, I probably started doing webinars in 2016, so like they weren't like brand new, but I don't think a lot of folks were using them in the agency space back then. And what we found is like this used to take a week to like really get like just prepping all your slides, getting everything ready, like getting your framework. What are you going to say? All of that. Like it was certainly was not a like use Russell Brunson script and be done in like 15 seconds.
Well, and again, it's done a great job. So granted, it put his name in, that's fine. But, you know, I can literally now put this section, this text it gave me in the notes section of my PowerPoint or my Canva or Google Slides, whatever I'm using. My audience will never see it. And I don't even have to prep because, Frankie, when I start my webinar this afternoon, I can just go, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I'm thrilled to have you join me today in this exciting journey to supercharge your home service business with the power of blogging. My name's Jonathan Mast, and I've made it my mission to help entrepreneurs like you unleash a true potential for their online presence. All I got to do is read the darn thing. Yeah. It's easy. No big deal. And and then I'm going to ask it, you know, give me the text for the PowerPoint slides. And so here it is. Here's my slide content, my 3 bullet point: establishing authority, generating leads, long-term value, key takeaways if I want, any visuals. It's even giving me recommendations. Include images related to home services, such as a contractor working on a project, a landscaper in a beautiful yard, a clean service providing you with excellent service. If you're not sure what to do, guys, you can even take that even further, and I won't do it here, but you could have it say, write me a mid-journey prompt for those images, and it'll literally create you a mid-journey prompt. You can copy and paste in the mid-journey and create those images right on the spot.
For those of you guys,
again, like you were saying, Frankie,
I just wanted to add, for those of you guys not using mid-journey or didn't see the last one, it's a AI image generator. So you put in a prompt and it'll spit out an image of whatever you tell it to spit out.
Yeah, and again, like you said, we've now taken, so that's taken a seconds. If I go back up, I've got 6 sections plus a conclusion and an intro, so 8 sections. If I spend 3 minutes a section printing that out, in under 30 minutes, I've just created my entire webinar, the script for my webinar, and the slide points. And I can now go into things like slide.ai or even Canva with their new AI tools, and I can paste this content right here into it and say, create me a slide based on my brand. It doesn't work quite that easy in Canva, but it's similar. And it's going to go automatically find a great layout. It's going to put the bullet points in. It's going to make it look fantastic. And those slides are going to be created in another minute or two. So soaking wet, I create a 30-minute webinar with everything I need to present it as an agency owner in under an hour.
Yeah. And it's fucking good. Like, I don't think
Yeah.
that's an understated detail, right? Like, it's not like you're just going to stand up there looking like an idiot. It's got, you know, some persuasion elements. It has a good introduction. It has a good content layout. It has good visuals. It has a, like, with this framework, like, you know, if you do this, people are going to see you as the kind of professional you want to be seen as.
Absolutely. And again, let's face it, most of us could use the help, because to us, blogging is second nature. So I'm not going to hit all the relevant points. I'm not going to make it interesting, because I've been blogging for 20 years.
Yeah.
But now I've got a script that I can literally just read off, answering questions like, why should I be blogging? And, you know, how do you publish them? And all the things that are relevant that keep that to be an engaging thing. And if you can simply learn to read with a little emotion and a smile, you'll sound great on your webinar. You'll create huge credibility, and you'll people calling you going, can you do that for me?
Yeah. And that's ultimately what I think a lot of people are after with this is exactly that response is, can you just do this for me? And that's the power of a good webinar framework. Jonathan, I wonder, you know, we talked a little bit about like content ideation. So like, you know, like blog posts and video scripts and things like that. Like, this is something I think a lot of people struggle with the old blank screen of death. Like, what do I say? What do I do? Like, a lot of times, you know, like that. And you had an example you gave me where there was a client who was struggling with, you know, like, what was it? Like a half used warehouse.
Yeah. So, yeah, good example. So this happens to be a old client of mine. He just bought a new building. He's only using half of it. He wants to sublease the rest of it out, you know, literally. And he's not using ChatGPT. So we were chatting about it yesterday, and I'm like, Rick, you've got to just tell ChatGPT, I bought a new building. I'm only using half of it. I want to sublease this out to other businesses that need office space. How should I do that? And he's like, ChatGPT will give me an answer. I said, give you a great answer. So I'll just do that in a minute. So I just bought a building. We're only using half of it. Key here is, remember, prompt ChatGPT like you're talking to a person. Give them the same type of information, and it'll work well.
I found, by the way, that people who find this the easiest have had employees and have had to, like, essentially we're giving them a form similar to prompts and having to refine it and things like that. And, you know, just like that, you know, I actually just had somebody who asked me if I could help their VA take something to the finish line. And they're essentially asking me, like, can you give them another prompt to take this from 80% to 100%?
All right. So misspelling it. Good news is it knows what I want. So I said, I just bought a building. We're only using half of it. I want to sublease the open space out to small business owners and entrepreneurs in the area. So what's it tell me to do? Define your ideal tenants. Important. Create a compelling listing. Leverage online platforms. Utilize local business. Okay, that's great. Now let's be even better and say you are and my wife would tell me I got to do that, right? Expert commercial real estate broker. I have 6 offices to lease. I'm located in Grand Rapids, Michigan, which is where I'm at. How write a listing for this space. And let's see what it does. So here we go. Prime office space available in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Are you a small business owner or entrepreneur seeking an ideal office space in the bustling city of Grand Rapids? Look no further. Blah, 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 blah. We're present 6 exceptional offices. Features, location, design, flexible spaces, natural light, amenities, customization. Obviously, I can tweak all that real quick. Lease details, location, contact us. And again, now in seconds, I've just created something that I could use if I'm subleasing this space out. This isn't just about content creation for a blog post or for a website or for social media. ChatGPT does all that, but this is even better. because this helps me with a real business problem and creates that idea right off the bat.
Yeah, now I mean it's like you just got to add a couple of meaningful specifics and you got like an amazing framework. Like, you know, it actually hits on a lot of the things like I'd be interested in if I was renting an office, like a conference room and high-speed internet, things like that. Like, I mean, I don't even know if those things are actually true about the space, but I'm sure your client could cater to that.
Well, and that's it. Now you can go. I mean, if I'm figuring, I may not understand. Okay, I should talk about the location. I should talk about the design. He's just renovated the whole space, so he needs to talk about that. They are flexible. He's got room to do that. It does have natural light. He's got windows. That's natural light. He can talk about the amenities, like you mentioned. Okay, yeah, I've got a Keurig. I've got high-speed internet. You've got a lockable office door. Blah 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 blah. Whatever is relevant to that, and then he can put in his pricing and what the terms and all that type of stuff, put in the location. And again, for all we know, he could go post this on LinkedIn and have it leased out, today. It could be as simple as that. So that's where I see so much power in the ability to use this. And again, all going back to remember when you're prompting, tell ChatGPT who it should act like, and it will dramatically impact the quality that you're getting. And remember, longer prompts will almost assuredly get you better responses out of the AI. So treat it like you are an assistant. A lot of us have assistants that may be VAs overseas. We all know if you want that VA to do a good job for you, you've got to explain what you want done in a fair amount of detail. They're great, but they still need that context. If you give that same context to ChatGPT or even Bard, you'll get so much better quality out of that. It's unbelievable.
Just an example of what Jonathan's talking about, like I did a thing in 2017, long before the world went mental, where I was showing lawyers like all the things you could hire on Fiverr and virtual assistants. And one of the things they were really interested in getting is like, you're telling me I don't have to spend, $5,000 for a designer to make a logo. I can just go for $5 on Fiverr. And I kind of laughed because I'm like, most of the time those $5,000 designers are just flipping it for $5 on Fiverr anyway. And then they asked me how to do it. And a couple of the lawyers I remember had a really good experience, and a couple of the ones had a really bad experience. And the ones who had a bad experience, it was just a generic prompt of like, make me an awesome looking logo. And then of course, like you don't know what you want. It doesn't work. And then the ones who had the most success with it were like, I like these 3 logos. I like the blue. I like the hammer. I like the blah, blah, blah. I like the lettering. Can you make something similar to that, except with this little change? And the more they had, like you said, a longer prompt with some meaningful specifics, like almost always they got what they wanted. And it's usually like when you just do like a make me something / anything, that you get kind of like meaningless outputs. But in your case, like, you're Russell Brunson, you're a commercial broker. This is what we're after, like this specific thing. We're in this specific location. Like there's some meaningful specifics are usually the difference between, garbage out and like actually getting like something useful. And it's the same with employees. Like I said, I think people who find this the easiest have found that like, you have to do this stuff with employees too.
Absolutely. The other thing that, frankly, we didn't talk about, but I show real quick that I think it makes so much sense is I'm going back to my original prompt before I asked anything else, but you can have ChatGPT ask you additional questions that it thinks is relevant. So, please ask me additional questions and allow me to answer prior to giving me your best response. And watch, I'll redo this and it's going to, there we go. So before I give a response, I need a few things. One, what's the location? How much open space are you looking to sublease? What amenities are there? What's the target audience? What's your rental price? Are there any specific requirements for subtenants, specific industries or collaboration? Do you have any unique selling points? I can now answer those, and it will take each of those answers and incorporate that into the listing that I just asked it to create. So remember that ChatGPT can be a darn good consultant and guide for you as well.
Can we this is great, by the way, and I'm can we do one more, because I want to for sure, just being respectful of your time. I know you're a busy dude kicking ass in life. Do one more. We had talked about like kind of video script ideation and things like that. You had some clients who were struggling, like, what do I say, and blah blah blah. And ChatGPT can, like, really knock that out of the park.
Absolutely. So, you know, again, what I want to do here is I want to start with somebody that I like and respect. So, whether you do or not, I think Gary Vee does a great job. So, we're going to tell it to use Gary Vaynerchuk's perspective. So, you are Gary Vee. Please write me, and we'll have to give us three short video scripts to use as reels. Reminded each script
You're the king of
should
typing and
be less
backspacing, by the way.
should be less than, let's say, about 225 words. Most people can get out about 250 words a minute. So if you do 225, you should be under your minute, less than 225 words. And let's see here. I am in, give me a business, Frankie. What type of business? Let's say I'm a digital agency or web agency owner, and the videos.
Let's say we design websites for dentists. Let's just throw that one out there.
Perfect. I design websites for dentists, and the video should help me promote my business without selling and create credibility and be of interest to dentists and their office managers. There we go. Here we go, video script number one. It's even going to give me some scene stuff. I could maybe be standing in a, there, video number two, and video number three will be here shortly. There we go. So let's just, we'll, if you don't mind, I'll embarrass myself and I'll just read script number three. So
Please.
It's called Designing Your Dental Success Story.
We're all about
so Dennis,
embarrassment here.
All right. Dennis, listen up. Today, I want to talk to you about designing your dental success story. Your dental practice is unique and your online presence should reflect that. Through thoughtful design and strategic content, we'll craft a website that showcases your expertise, highlights your team, and captures the essence of your practice. Imagine your patient's first impression, a visual, stunning website that instantly builds credibility and trust for your practice. We'll incorporate patient testimonials, before and after photos, and educational resources that inform and empower your patients. But it doesn't stop at a website. We'll create a cohesive branding strategy too that extends your social media, newsletters, and other marketing channels. So if you're ready to write your dental success story, let's connect. Together, we'll design. Now, you might want to fix it, but dang, that ain't bad.
That's not bad at all, especially actually like I said, the meaningful specifics about the testimonials and the before and after photos and the resources and your team and your expertise. Like that's probably going to land with a dentist. You know, I know you never know until you try stuff.
You record that and you send that out to 20 dentists in the area. If you don't get 2 or 3 calls off that, I'm going to be amazed.
Yeah.
So, and again, you pick the industry, you pick what you want, you pick, I mean, that one was kind of salesy. We could change it up a little bit, but you know, if I used a different voice, it would sound a little different. But these things are super helpful. And if it's anybody who's been in the public for very long, it's going to know who they are and it will use their style. The other day I had to write a sales letter and a client thought it was a little too salesy. So instead of using Russell Brunson, which is who I had used, I said, let's use Zig Ziglar. For those of you that are a little bit younger than me, Zig Ziglar was a popular sales writer back in the 70s and 80s. And it rewrote everything from the perspective of what Zig Ziglar talked about, which was still sales oriented, but wasn't near as in your face as what maybe Russell was or something like that.
Yeah. Hey, Zig, by the way, all-time awesome quotes for Zig, for those of you guys who are in our world and, you know, are probably under 25 and don't know who Zig was. I remember somebody said that, like, you know, Zig, I came to your weekend thing and I got like super motivated, but, you know, I know by Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm going to be back to the office and the grind and what's going to happen. And he said, you know, yes, motivation wears off daily, which is why I recommend it daily, just like showering. And he's also got another one,
best quotes.
Another one where he says, timid salespeople have skinny children.
Oh, one of my favorites. Yeah. The first car I ever bought, the salesman had that on his desk. And I literally said, I respect you more because of it. And he goes, good, because that's, and it's so true.
Yeah. And a lot of times,
I don't know.
By the way, just on that front, just as a little aside, is a lot of times if you actually have good shit, you're doing people a disservice by being timid about putting it in the world. That's a little aside.
No, it's an important one though. I mean, if you believe in what you do, if you're this dental web designer and you create great websites for dentists, you're doing them a disservice if you don't call them and get a little pushy with them. Because if you're going to help them grow their business by being timid, you're not helping them.
Yeah.
Tell them you're going to be better. Be a little arrogant without being a jerk about it. Be confident. If you can't believe in yourself, how is that prospect going to believe that you're going to make their life better?
You know, I think this example that you just showed, by the way, it is really to me the most powerful, like, kind of use of ChatGPT is that if you are a content creator or you curate it in some way and you use that as part of your overall strategy, like you just leveled up your productivity in a way in the last 6 months that was like, you know, is an exponential sort of leap forward. Like we found it, like I was struggling with having my VAs write these long SEO optimized YouTube descriptions and trying to get those perfect. And even still, it would just sound like third world English at a time. And I was struggling a little bit with it. And at the end of the time, it's like the only person who, or the only, I say person, the only one reading the descriptions 90% of the time is the YouTube bots. And now, you know, it's just a 1 sentence prompt. And it's like, there we go. We got a YouTube description and we can make, you know, a gazillion of them in seconds. And so for those of you guys who are using content as part of your strategy, whether that's webinars or videos or blogging or an email list or whatever it is you're using as, like, you know, to using content as part of your nurturing process, like you kind of got a cheat code over everyone else, because it'll be a few years before everyone else really figures out what this is. Like, you know, Jonathan and I were talking, like, if you just gave an iPhone to a monkey, yeah, it'll take crystal clear pictures and you know, record beautiful sounds, but at the end of the day, they won't actually output anything meaningful. For those of you guys who are in our world and understand this and like doing this at scale, like, I don't know, you've got, at least in my mind, like a 2-3 year head start before everyone else kind of catches up to, you know, where we're at with this. I don't know. I'd be curious to know, Jesse. I mean, none of us have a crystal ball, so like, by the way, don't take any of this to the bank, but I would love to hear Jonathan's thoughts on just where you see the next 6 months or a year with where all this is headed for us.
Well, I think you're going to find that, much like the business owner I talked to yesterday, a lot of business owners have heard about this stuff, but they don't really know about it. A lot of them have some trepidation because they're watching the news. And of course, the news wants to make it sound like Terminator's coming and we're going to have, you know, AI managed lives. And I don't see that happening. I think there's tremendous opportunity. And I'll just give you one example of how we're doing it even internally. And every agency owner in my mind should be doing this. We all know that time on page is important for SEO. A lot of us are blogging and doing webinars and posting content on our websites because we want to be ranked well. One of the easiest things you can do now, because ChatGPT has given us this ability, just what we did there, is you can go ahead and you can write your blog post, paste a link to the blog post in, make sure you turn the web access on, and tell it to write you a 60-second video script about that blog post. Sit at your desk like I'm sitting here right now and record that just as a voiceover. Throw that video up on YouTube, embed that into your blog post. Now you're telling somebody not only here are the key takeaways and the FAQs, but you're starting that blog post off near the top with a video that's going to take 60 to 90 seconds. What are the people going to do? They're going to watch 30 to 45 seconds of that, and it's another 30 to 45 seconds of time on page, which is going to hugely help your blog post over your other competition's blog post. And now you can do that in minutes because it's so easy to do that script.
Yeah. And I'm sure you could probably do something similar with Midjourney prompts and putting in some images and stuff like that and making it very, very media rich and colorful and just easy to consume, instead of just being this, like, you know, 5 things you need to know to clean your carpets or whatever. You know, it can have a video of a carpet cleaning and some images of those things and some demonstrations and all that. And like you said, increase time on site, ultimately giving Google what it wants. And by, you know, giving people what they want, and then, you know, helping your clients win.
And that's, I guess, where I see going to answer your question, Frankie. I think that there's going to be 2 schools. There's going to be those of us that embrace this and try to figure out, how do we give Google what it wants and our customers what they want at a better value, and leverage AI to do that. And how many of us are just going to say, well, let me use it as a shortcut so I can do this or do that. I think those of us that are going to win here are those that are going to be trying to leverage AI to provide more value to our customers customers first and foremost. And second of all, that are going to be then saying, how can I feed that 800-pound gorilla called Google? How can I give them the things they want? The good video description you're talking about, maybe a video that increases time on site, adding an FAQ to an old blog post. Go grab an old blog post where you didn't do any key takeaways or FAQs. Feed that blog post into ChatGPT and say, hey, give me 7 key takeaways in bulleted form and write me 5 FAQs with questions and answers. And boom, add that back in. Now you've taken that evergreen post, updated it, made it better, and Google's going to re-index it. You add a video to it. You've spent a grand total of 5 or 10 minutes on that post, made it 100 times better. And again, now you're adding more value to your business and to your customers while you're feeding that 800-pound gorilla, and you're using AI to make that effective.
Yeah, that's huge. Actually, what you actually said something to me that's like a real writer downer, which is if you're just trying to use it, like I see this, well, rather than pick on somebody else, I'll pick on myself. Like when I first started in internet marketing in like 2007, I must have tried like in a year and a half, like 200 plus business ideas. I hear my kids screaming in the next room. That's just part of the joy around here. And I was just trying to shortcut making a buck on the internet and not really like provide value and actually build a real business. And a friend of mine, Dave Miz, who's in our group, who's awesome, said that, well, you guys can hear the real parenting. Heidi hit me. That's what I'm hearing. But Dave said, it takes just as much time to build a real business as it does to like try and, hustle a quick buck in some unsustainable way. And so I was just like in a phase where I was just trying to look for a shortcut, and I constantly like jumped from shortcut to shortcut and shortcut. And eventually you realize like if you do a real thing where you're actually like putting something substantial out there, it's not any harder. And so I see a lot of people who are trying to use it as a shortcut. Like, how can I get ChatGPT? I see the most popular YouTube videos are all about like ChatGPT made me money. And as you mentioned, if you're using it as a tool to enhance value, like I don't think enough people understand the underlying cause of like money coming to you and your business and your agency is value creation. And so if you focus on that as a byproduct of it, you'll get paid more. And if you're looking for the shortcuts and you're not actually thinking about providing value, you're going to skip all of that and it won't happen. So I think maybe, Jonathan, we should do the what's next for folks. Tell them about your group. Anything else you want to plug? Feel free to do that.
Yeah, I'll be happy. We'll put a link with the video here to the group. It's a Facebook group that
Can I just interrupt and say I'm in that group, and so are some awesome people in our community as well. So make sure you guys are in there.
Thank you, Frank. I appreciate it. Key about the group, I love to tell everybody, is about how to use it for business, and we're not selling anything. In fact, I every day I'm banning posts from people that are like, go buy this from me on Gumroad and everything else. It's not about selling. It's about learning. We share a ton of prompts. We share a lot of information. We'd love to have people join us there. I think that's hugely helpful. Yeah, the other thing I want to encourage, we're all agency owners. Think about, again, how you can use, just what Frankie was talking about, how can you use this to provide better value to your clients? Literally a half hour before this call, I was talking to my sales manager, and we were talking about a client that needs to have some SEO work done, and they don't have the budget that we normally charge for that. And so we were taking a quick look at it and said, you know what, if we did this with AI instead, we could give them the following cluster of SEO topics, content that goes with it and everything else. And yes, it's AI written, and we'll review it, all that type of stuff. And oh, by the way, we'll let them post it instead of us posting it because that takes a bunch of time. We'll give them the instructions. And we were able to cut the price by literally 2/3 to the customer. Yeah. Now, you may go, why do you want to do that? Well, we're not offering that to every customer. But in this case, I've got a customer who couldn't afford our normal $500 a week for it, but can afford $800 a month. And he just sent me a message while we're on this call. He already called him. He's already closed it. So by using AI, we've just created another $800 a month in recurring revenue, literally within 30 minutes. By doing something that we already know how to do, we're just leveraging the tool to be more efficient at it so that we spend less time. The customer's thrilled. I'm thrilled. The sales rep is thrilled. The company's thrilled because, again, that's $800 more in revenue. Over the course of the year, that's, what, $7,200? No, $9,600. It's almost 10 grand in 30 minutes. Yeah. That's how you're going to succeed using AI in my mind. I'm biased, but that's my opinion on it.
Yeah, 1,000%. And I just want to say, I always say the hidden metric in that, I actually just had a talk with our folks in person, is like impact and the money that comes through that per unit of energy. A lot of times I'll see people who have a $10,000 deliverable, but then like once they get into it and they find out it's 800 hours worth of work, They like suddenly realize it's a shitty trade. So to me, like, as you mentioned, just like a little $800 thing you can do that's delivered in 30 minutes and is extremely valuable for the client, where everybody wins. It helps them save a shit ton of time and energy and effort. And for you is just second nature, knowing doing what you do every day, all day. It's, yeah, for you, it might just be clicking a couple of buttons, but for them, it sounds like rocket science and they wouldn't be able to figure it out on their own. Like, that's huge. So I'll put some links below for you guys. I don't want to keep Jonathan anymore because he's a busy, successful dude and he's smart and obviously more attractive than me, but I'll make sure you guys join his community because I'm in there and it's fucking awesome. And I see it growing, and I can already tell, like, just because I do this and I've, kind of built communities in 6 or 12 months, it's only going to get even cooler as we go, because Jonathan is not stepping off the gas. He's a super active kind of community leader in there, and he's just putting out good stuff and good stuff and good stuff. So get in there, find motherfuckers. And that's all I got to say on that. Thanks again.
Thank you, Frankie. I appreciate it.
Guys, if you like this video, you're also going to want to grab some free bonuses, which you can get at our website, Beyond Agency Profits. To make it easy for you, I've put the links to it in the description of this video, as well as pinned in the top comment. And we've got a couple of awesome things. This is what you'll get after you sign up. You get some of our best training, how we're closing clients over Loom videos, how we sometimes sign clients that is not a misprint for under $5 US, how to demonstrate your value in like amazing ways, trainings, how to have your clients write the best copy of your life, how we're closing without phone calls, campaigns that we've generated for clients that have done over $100,000, as well as scripts you can use to get conversations going with clients in under 10 minutes. All you got to simply do is go there, enter your name and email address, and then this is what you'll see on the other side. So if that's interesting to you, make sure to click the links below, and I will see you on the other side.